Jody and Steve, thank you so much for calling in and helping us out with this question tonight. It's a little bit of a quandary of a question because she's asking about something that we have a tendency to advocate a lot on Mod Love and on Soulmate Dance as well. We talk a lot about trying to consciously uncouple, and it never really occurred to me that there would be somebody out there who wouldn't want to do that or wouldn't want to see someone do that. So I'm glad that you're going to help us kind of navigate through those rough waters tonight. If you don't mind, I'm just going to go ahead and read the question, okay?
Okay, that sounds good.
She writes in and says, my soulmate and I recently divorced last year, and we have been successful doing this in a mindful way. We have grown children and have remained friends and business partners. My problem is with the new man I've been seeing. He insists that my remaining friends with my ex and running a business with him is not normal and that I'm just inviting drama down the road. He says once my ex realizes I have moved on, things will deteriorate. He also says the fact that my ex has not found someone new means he's in love with me, and that's not healthy for our new relationship. I can't tell. Is he jealous or does he have valid points? What should I do?
Well, I'm with you. I mean, we've been so focused on helping people understand that divorce doesn't have to mean war. I really hadn't thought about how a new partner might look at that, and I'm a little bit surprised to discover that they would look at it in this way. But I'd like to start with giving this gal huge, huge kudos that she and her former husband have successfully navigated what can be one of life's most challenging transitions. You know, we always have a choice. And with divorce, it's really obvious. We can harmoniously restructure both ourselves and our relationships, or we can go to war, you know. And I think they'll really be commended for understanding that their marriage had run its course, but they still had a lot in common. In their case, children and career and friendship. And what they've done is chosen a course of action that respects all of that. It's like saying these parts don't work anymore, and we're going to let them go. These parts still work, and so we're going to carry them forward. We're going to continue with them. That really creates just a wonderfully peaceful and frankly, potentially more successful future for themselves and their children and their business. And they're really setting a great example for their kids. So my hat's off to both of them. And I know personal examples, you probably do too, of couples that have done this very successfully. Janet Atwood, who's a best-selling author, has done this wonderfully with her ex-husband, Chris. They are still co-authors. They're still business partners. In fact, she is godmother to Chris's children with his subsequent wife.
So it can be done. I mean, that's the point. It can be done, and it can be done well.
Well, and that's just it. It can be done, but the ones that do it well, they aren't the subject of juicy headlines and gossip and all that. So all that mess out there makes us think that's the only way. And it's really insane when you think about it, that people who once loved each other would suddenly just flip the switch, and now they're in hate. You know, ugly divorces don't make anybody happy. We all know this. And I think the guarantee for drama is if you do nurse that hate and you do nurse all the differences and just, you know, go with the ugly stuff. That is really the formula for drama and problems down the road. I really think, and this is my personal opinion, I really think her new boyfriend just might have it backwards. Here's some questions for her. Why is he so attached to her past? Not his past, doesn't have anything to do with him. And it's a past that actually set her free to possibly be in a relationship with him. I mean, he might be missing that point. So I'm wondering if he's having some trouble letting go of his fears, his own preconceived notions of what should happen after a divorce. You know, he's kind of attached to the way he thinks her past should be and how she should act. That's just his opinion. But why does he need her that badly toward her ex? I mean, is it so he can feel more secure? And that kind of makes me wonder about his own status. If he's divorced, he might not be. He could be widowed or never married. But if he's divorced, what kind of divorce does he have? Is he maybe jealous because she's crafted this beautiful, peaceful divorce that he doesn't have with his ex? Is he afraid that she and her ex might get back together? she's really set sort of a standard for forgiving her husband and herself, which is essential in having a peaceful, conscious divorce. But why does this man need for her to be unforgiving? And really, come on now, what difference does it make if her husband still loves her? Those are her former husband's feelings to work out. Doesn't have anything to do with them or where they are now. And so it really just comes down to me. If he weren't afraid of something, this new boyfriend, he'd just be happy for her, and he'd be happy to move on. So it kind of sounds like he's barring trouble. She knows her husband better than this man does, her former husband. Does she think he would set out to cause trouble or things would shift? But the real thing is, if this new man trusts her and trusts her feelings towards him, which may be growing, then maybe she can help him see that being happy and grateful for her courteous and diplomatic divorce really speaks well for the future the two of them might have. And then it might also help him see how honoring her free will and respecting her choices would really also bode well for their future together. And does she really want to stay with him? I kept asking myself, does she want to stay with this guy with his fears? That's not, she's the only one that knows the answer to that. But there's no need to be afraid ever of releasing someone in a relationship so they can go do their healing and they're growing. And there's no need to be afraid of leaving a relationship that served its purpose. The reality is she might engage in a number of relationships while she's in this transition from being married to being single to whatever comes next. And being okay with that is a big part of what's going to be happening for her. So giving him the space to work out his fears, giving her the space to evolve and grow as she needs to, those are really important things, that space to explore. And one of the things I would really encourage her to explore right now is what is the true meaning of self-care. So I think we've been conditioned to think it's giving yourself little treats and luxuries, and that's only a little piece of the picture. It's really a form of surrendering into being who you are rather than always doing. Getting really acquainted with your own needs and your own preferences, and by that I mean your soul's needs and your soul's preferences, and letting them be a priority in your life. And this is not a me first thing. This is like the essence of me, the energy of me, the me that's always behind the scenes, the real me. And that's what directs your daily footsteps, getting really acquainted with what that real me needs and then nurturing that, because that's really the incubator where your spirit and your life will flourish. And you really don't want to let anything deter you from that path. So she has a lot of questions to ask, but the answer, I think, to her basic one is he really isn't offering her a lot of insight, but he is showing his hand as far as what his own fears are. And then she'll need to decide how she wants to respond to that.
Yeah, because she can't work through those fears for him. He has to work through that for himself. And you're right, it might be rooted in whatever has gone on with his past relationships and his own kind of baggage that he's bringing in and kind of projecting onto her.
Exactly. But it's not her karma to work out, as the saying goes. That's his karma to work out. And ultimately, she needs to figure out what is best for her, what nurtures her, what takes care of her. Because the more she nurtures that, the more she'll be ready for a real soul relationship when and if that comes along.
Well, thank you so much, Ann. I think that's a fantastic question. And like I said, it was it's a little bit of a different take because you would think that most people really would want their partners to have a really amicable split up from a previous partner, but maybe sometimes that really is, if you haven't dealt with your own stuff, maybe sometimes that can be kind of fearful and challenging. So thank you very much for offering up that fantastic piece of advice for her, and hopefully she can look within herself and figure out if this is something she really needs to explore a little bit more and ask herself some of those tough questions.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Ann, and we will absolutely have you back next week on our Soulmate segment, and we look forward to chatting with you then.
Sounds good.
All
See
right.
you
Thanks,
then.
Ann.
Bye-bye. You're welcome.
And there you go. That was Ann Wade with this week's Soulmate segment. I found that interesting, especially early on when she mentioned the idea of we only see the big blow-ups in the media. We never quite see the things that just work out okay. So people having a divorce that ends amicably, you don't hear about those because there's no drama there. There's nothing to really report on. And so we get a kind of a funny sense of what things are like out there. I mean, Facebook is like that. I mean, really, we post things out there of what we want people to see about our lives. And well, for most of us anyway, we don't post the things out there that we don't want people to see. So it's really more of a PR kind of
It's like the
image
PR
of us.
arm of your life.
Exactly. It's not a true slice of what's going on in your life. So people can look at, say, your Facebook page and say, man, that person just has the best life. Well, because they're not putting all the bad stuff that's going on in their life that they're dealing with on Facebook. Of course, we know some people who do that, and it's almost jarring because it doesn't quite match up with what most other people are doing.
Yeah.
A lot of folks, I think, really do go out to Facebook to see their friends' kids and see what their friends are doing and share some fun, uplifting sort of things, and unfortunately to get a laugh at fat people or something like that, but not really to bitch and moan about their own lives, so that when someone does do that and kind of dumps, it does kind of get jarring. But in regards to this particular issue that Ann was discussing, yeah, I think that's right, that we don't see all the people who do manage their divorces in a mature and admirable manner.
Well, it's interesting that one of the things that was kind of jarring for me about the question is it never occurred to me that there would be someone out there who would think having a really amicable and drama-free divorce and everybody gets along. It never occurred to me that somebody would think that was a bad or a not normal thing. I mean, well, and maybe if you look at it in the scheme of normality, which is not really a good word, but if you look at it as far as normal, maybe it's not normal. Maybe most people do wind up not really getting along after they break up or after they have a divorce. But to actually think that could be something that's not good and not healthy, that was a little shocking to me.
That is kind of odd. That wait, you're getting it's like when people see a couple just getting along in general, really, after you're 10 years into your marriage and you're still in love with each other. That seems weird because, of course, we hear about the big blow-ups, we hear the drama, and we imagine, of course, everything to be so much worse. When you see a breakup, a big celebrity breakup, and then she goes back with him or he goes back with her. What are they doing? Because we miss all the other stuff in between.
Yes.
That makes up for that. So you just have the little blips that come out into the news media, and you think that's all there is, and it must be always like that. And it's just the media paints a horrible picture of is not reality. It's like, I mean, it's like statistics. I'm sorry, because I hate statistics, and Jody, I know you love statistics, but
I don't love them. I just do them well.
you love them.
I don't love them so much. I do them well.
If you could have a stuffed statistic animal, you would have one and you would sleep with it.
I am an analyst. I cannot help it. I analyze numbers. That's what I do.
But I think statistics and media are similar in that they give you maybe some insight into something, but they're not real. Every family may have 2.3 children, but no family actually has 2.3 children.
Okay, I will give you that.
So I think also the same thing with this, and that the media shows people having this kind of life or that kind of life, but you're only seeing slices, and that's not the totality of their life. You're missing all the context, all the in-between stuff. And the media, that's where they make their money. That's what they thrive off of. And
if it bleeds, it leads.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think I've said my piece there, but there you go.
Well, I would hope, and I would hope that that venues like this show and some of the stuff that we're doing with Mod Love Radio and some of the stuff that we're also doing with Soulmate Dance would help bring to light this idea that just because you break up or just because you get divorced, it doesn't have to be a war. And I think sometimes a lot of people, and what I would think with this guy is maybe what he really wants to do is he wants to draw this really distinct comparison between himself and her ex-husband, so that, hey, look at me, I'm the good guy. Hey, look at him, he's not. Because sometimes it's a little bit about your own insecurities.
Sure.
You know, not really feeling like maybe you're all she's going to want. And if you can draw a really distinct comparison between what you had and what you have now, sometimes that makes people feel better about themselves. But here's an instance where he doesn't have to do that. And I think that's always a healthier place when you can kind of take that ego out of it and just stand on your own 2 feet and just the good person that you are, without having to have it be in relation to, oh, I'm better than him because he's your ex.
Right.
You know? And I really, really hope that through, like I said, vehicles like this show and Soulmate Dance, that we can kind of bring more people into to feeling that way. And you're smiling at me like...
I'm from the North. We don't use it. We don't pronounce the H in vehicle.
Vehicle?
And I'm not saying we're right or wrong. It's different. And I was just kind of, because I actually remember a MASH episode where Sherman Potter lost his driver's license and he had to go take remedial driver's lessons from the moron who runs the Jeep pool and the motor vehicle. Sorry, I just got a giggle out of that. But
nice.
I said, that's not right or wrong. It just up
is.
north we don't tend to use the H.
Vehicle.
It's just vehicle. But anyway, on that note, we're going to wrap up.
But I think it's interesting doing it in a 1 hour format as opposed to a 2 hour format, because
Sure.
I think for those listeners out there who are doing this, who want to download it and want to download it onto their devices and want to listen to it later, it makes it a little easier if they have a smaller show that they can download. So we wanted to try to make it a little easier, because we know we do have a lot of people out there that want to listen live. They want to listen live on Kinetic Hi-Fi, but they also want to listen later. And if they want to take it with them, it's a smaller and a more condensed file to be able to do that with. And it just makes it a lot more funny when we try to pack everything we do in 2 hours into one.
There you go. And if they do want to listen later, where do they go to find that?
There's a lot of different places they can go to find that. But mainly, why don't you go out and check out the listen page of our website, which is modloveradio.com. And we're also going to be posting these up every Friday on Facebook. So if you want to just go on out to Facebook and click on the post, you can listen live right there in Facebook.
That's right. It can now stream right in the middle of your Facebook post. So you can click on that play and then continue doing what you're doing otherwise.
And just listen right there. There's also, if you happen to be someone who has an Android, you can find us on TuneIn. You can find us on Stitcher. And pretty soon here, you're going to be able to find us on iTunes as soon as iTunes gives us that link.
That's right. We're just waiting on them. We've submitted everything we needed to. And we're Spreaker as well, right?
Spreaker, yes.
I get us on Spreaker as well. So, yeah, Spreaker, Stitcher, TuneIn, iTunes eventually, as soon as they approve it and post it up. We already have a couple archives out there for you to check out. And, so that's about it. I think we'll wrap up.
Yeah, and also if you want to check out a really older show, you can also check out Mod Love on Kinetic Hi-Fi. Kinetic Hi-Fi still has Mod Love listed up there in their archives. And if you want to get something through from June of 2012 through June of 2014, you can check out any of those older archives up there.
That is true.
So,
those are all out there as well.
There's lots of ways you can find us. Scroll out there, but you got to find us on a computer, because we're on the interwebs.
Afraid so, yeah. We won't be in your newspaper.
We're not going to be in your newspaper.
If you're one of those 3 people who still get a paper delivery of the Post and Courier, you won't find us there.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks so much for listening tonight, guys. And we look forward to joining you next week. Same bat time, same back channel. And you have been listening to
Mod Love.